and welcome to the NFT MetaJungle. I am Emma, aka Nifty Meta Girl, and today I am bringing you another episode in our 12-part series where we're featuring the 98 photographs and 90 photographers that are being exhibited in real life right now at Venice Biennale in Venice, Italy. Now, this exhibit is a month long. It's happening the entire month of November, and MetaJungle has sponsored this in conjunction with SuperChief Galleries, and we are super excited to be highlighting these artists that are active in the NFT space to the general public. Now, Venice Biennale is an art exhibit that happens every 2 years and features some of the top art in the world. So very excited to be representing, for MetaJungle to be represented here in this space, and also to be sharing the beautiful artwork from these 90 photographers in this particular space. Now, the theme of the exhibit that I worked with AlphaTrilogy to curate is Discovering Photography in Web3, and it is comprised all of photographs that AlphaTrilogy has collected in the last 15 months here in the NFT space. And we've given special attention to include artists that may be stepping out on their photography journey, those that are well established, and those also that are world renowned in photography. And so really excited to share with the world how they are just beginning to learn about the NFT space and navigate within. We also gave really special attention to highlighting multiple genres of photography. And so the way the In Real Life exhibit works and the way that we're pulling that into this podcast series is there's actually 8 screens on display, and these 8 screens each will show an image for approximately 30 seconds. And so we have 12 different scenes that will rotate through that 6-minute rotation. So very excited. We really gave a strong effort to be able to represent as many photographs and photographers as possible during that 6-minute time frame. Now, this 6 minutes will just run on a continuous loop throughout the hours that the exhibit is open for the entire month of November. We really encourage anyone that's within the area to make the effort to come out and experience really Venice Biennale, but especially this particular exhibit. And so in this 12-part series, I'm going to be highlighting each of the artists and photographers just to provide some more background information, and also for those who can't make the trip to Venice to be able to experience it as well. So this is episode 4, and today we're going to be highlighting landscape photography. And if you've been following along on this series, you know that episode 3 also featured landscape photography. However, today we are featuring all female photographers, which are really excited to be able to do. And again, we really feel like landscape photography is one of the genres that is an easy transition for those that even for those that are novices, all the way through those that are very experienced collectors or very experienced in the art world. And really, we just see that connection with nature all around us. And we definitely have some amazing pieces today to highlight that really do show the passion for the love of outdoors, the love of adventure, and capturing the amazing natural beauty around us. Now, our first photographer that we're going to feature today, her name is Rach Stewart, and Rach is based out of New Zealand, and she is, of course, a landscape photographer. She really has a passion for nature and for seeking out the beauty created by Mother Nature. She believes her photographs are characterized by her love for fun, adventure, and exploring, and she has a large social media following and has been published worldwide, including National Geographic, National Geographic Travel, the Daily Mail, and many, many more. Now, this particular piece that we are featuring in the exhibit is Aotearoa Dreaming New Zealand Skies is the collection name, and the particular piece is called Aotearoa Dreaming New Zealand Skies number 21. And when we look at the collection, we find that Rach mentions that Aotearoa means the land of the long white cloud, and was named so by the Mora navigators who voyaged to New Zealand and made it home. She says, "I have always been drawn in by nature's incredible creations, especially chasing light and clouds. And I've just happened to be lucky enough to live in such a place where the landscape is just as incredible as the skies and come with it. These are the images that have resulted in some of the most incredible light paintings nature has ever shown me." right here in my home in New Zealand. And this particular piece, which is Aotearoa Dreaming New Zealand Skies number 21, is Sunset at Hooker Lake at Mount Cook National Park. And as we can see, this piece is an absolutely beautiful, reflective image, very much like so many of Rach's pieces. I'm just such a fan of Rach herself. She navigates the space with a lot of grace and just is a really, really kind person, very supportive person. But her artwork is just absolutely beautiful. The amazing colors and clouds she's able to capture, you really see her love and her passion for the area that she lives in coming through each of her pieces. And AlphaTrilogy would agree with that. I'm sure a comment that he has made about this particular piece is that Rach is a master at framing and reflection, and definitely have to agree with that. But really happy to include Rach in this exhibit and be able to show off her beautiful, beautiful work. And it was only fitting to include her in this exhibit. Now, the next artist that we are featuring is another Rach, but this is Rachel Wood. And if you have ventured into the NFT space at all, especially in travel or landscape photography, I know you have probably come in contact with Rachel Wood. She is a huge advocate for the NFT space. She is an avid traveler and landscape photographer. But she, in addition to being an artist, a very talented artist, she's also a creator and builder here in the NFT community. She is extremely passionate about making this a wonderful space for artists, creators, builders for the future, and I do not know how she has the energy to keep up with everything that she does. She's oftentimes jetting around the world to different amazing locations and has gotten the opportunity to visit amazing, amazing locations around the world and connect with pretty amazing people as well. Now, the particular piece that we have included in this exhibit is called Rocky Roots, and very interestingly, it's actually from a collective, which we mentioned in the last episode about a collective that AlphaTrilogy had curated, and this is another collective, which this is kind of something that we were seeing happen midsummer of 2022, as groups of photographers would come together and create a curated collection and present it as a united group, and so there's many advantages to that. This particular collection was the very first landscape collective. And so the title of the collection is Orogeny Eternal Stones. And with this first collection for the landscape collective, their goal was really to feature talented landscape photographers from around the world and also many, many locations from around the world. There was many countries, cultures, and language represented here, and was really one of those beautiful collections that if you're interested in landscape photography, one to definitely pursue. Now, as I mentioned, Rachel is very passionate about all that she creates, and this particular piece is an absolutely beautiful piece, but it also is one in which that really connects with some of the ideals that Rachel shares with us often, and also just a very motivational description that she has included with it. And she says, part of the description that she includes is, wherever you are right now, know that I am speaking truth into your life when I tell you that if you will allow it, your mess will become your message. Your story has a purpose. Your life has deep meaning. You are meant to profoundly impact the world, the very world you live in. Know that what you have endured isn't who you are. Know that the person you dream of being lives within you. And I think that it goes along beautifully with the piece that we see, this just singular tree there amongst the rocky surroundings. And I think is also very true to the person that Rachel is. She shares a lot about her personal journey with the artwork that she creates, and we know that she has learned to overcome some of the challenges and is a very huge advocate for helping others overcome challenges that they may have had within their life to still be able to reach their goals and their passions. So, and just absolutely love how the white rock formation is setting against the beautiful colored sky. So just a gorgeous, gorgeous piece, and very happy to be representing Rachel within this exhibit as well. Now, our next piece was created by another travel photographer, travel and landscape photographer, and this is Jenna Dixon. And Jenna is based out of Canada, and specifically the Canadian Rockies, and is definitely another person that you can tell she absolutely loves the area that she is based out of. We oftentimes on Twitter see snippets of Jenna exploring usually very frozen, cold areas. She is known for capturing beautiful images, oftentimes in ice caves and in these remote locations that are absolutely gorgeous, but definitely give you a chill all the way through. But you can tell that Jenna loves being in the outdoors and is really, really able to capture these challenging locations that are all around her. But she really also focuses on storytelling, and she really loves to combine her written word to enhance the visual experience and bringing her viewer along on the journey, which is super cool. I am a huge advocate for including stories along with the images. It just is something I think enhances the entire experience for the viewer. So love that that's something that Jenna is passionate about. And you can find Jenna's work within the Canadian Tourism Boards, including Travel Yukon, the Tourism Vancouver Island, and as well as many other commercial brands. And of course, she has a very strong following on social media as well. Now, the collection that we have selected a piece from is actually called Mountain Splendor, and the particular piece is Dawn in the Valley of the 10 Peaks. Now, this image captures the beautiful sunrise at Minnetisima Lake in Banff National Park at Lake Louise in Alberta, Canada. And she includes that this reflection is one of the most sought-after images in the area, given the incredible backdrop of the famous 10 Peaks and the challenge it presents for the conditions to align to make this image possible. Even the slightest of breeze will render the shot impossible. Each time I've attempted this hike, I have had this shot in mind, knowing that the percentage of being successful is slim. So I start early to increase my chances, leaving the trailhead around 4 a.m. in the dark, lighting the path by my headlamp for 2 hours it takes to reach the top. I have hiked to this location at least 8 times over the last 2 years to finally accomplish this image. Needless to say, it is a special one. And we definitely agree with Jenna that this is an absolutely gorgeous image. And again, it's wonderful when a photographer will include some of those details about, what they took to capture the image and why it is so special. Obviously, we can tell from the beautiful reflective image that it is a gorgeous location, but those added details just do kind of bring you into the space and connect a little bit better, both with the image, but also with the photographer and understanding their passion for what they create. Jenna has done a beautiful job with that in this particular piece, and really in the entire collection. And Jenna is an amazing photographer, and again, just a great example of landscape photography, especially when highlighting female landscape photographers within the NFT space. Now, the next artist that we are featuring is Ishita Dharnidharka, and she is a travel and adventure photography from Mumbai, India. And she has traveled to over 40 countries, but the Himalayas will always remain her muse. Some of her clients include National Geographic Traveler, Canon, Google, and the Tourism Board of Peru. She has a huge history of capturing absolutely beautiful images and traveling to very remote and hard-to-reach areas. And this particular collection features exactly that. The name of the collection is The Privilege of Discomfort by Ishita Dharnidharka. And the particular piece that we're featuring is number 2 lay, which is at 3,500 meters. And some of the information that she provides with the description is Sok Kingra is a 6,153 meter high peak in the Indian Himalayas of Ladakh, and up to until 2017, it had never been attempted in the winter. So in February of 2017, I decided to jump in the deep end with a group of equally foolhardy strangers to attempt the near impossible. All the locals in the town of Lee thought we were crazy, asking why we had come here to die. But there was magic in this madness. We were surrounded by a singular whiteness, and each heavy and each heavy step inched us away from both humanity and cell phone reception. We found ourselves increasingly alone, but undeniably infinite. This expedition broke me in more ways than one, but I have learned that pain can be a privilege, because the truth is the world breaks everyone. And afterwards, some of us are strong at the broken places. And isn't that what we can all hope for, really? And I really believe that her description of this particular collection and the pieces within speak louder than what I could. So I'm very happy to be able to share her words for this particular piece or for this particular collection. And about the piece, she says, at an altitude of 3,500 meters, Lee is the historical capital of the Kingdom of Ladakh and an absolute dream in the winter. And I have so much adoration for her for pushing herself past her limits and past really previous limits to be able to explore such a remote location and have such an incredible experience. And what a way of being able to share that experience with her viewers and be able to document that moment along the way. Just an amazing, amazing accomplishment. So wanted to absolutely highlight her for that and be able to include this beautiful picture. And I agree with AlphaTrilogy has said about this particular piece, I cannot view this photo without feeling the cold. And that is very, very true. But it is such an incredible picture. And it's pretty amazing thinking about the fact that we may be some of the only people that have ever seen this remote location. Thanks to those that went on this voyage to capture this amazing space. Now, the next artist that we are featuring is another landscape photographer based out of New Zealand, and her name is Deb Clark. And she also shares a passion for capturing her surroundings. She also has a strong passion for strengthening the NFT community with contributions that she makes. And it's been really fun to get to know Deb a little bit. We were hosting a space on Friday evenings for several months, and the time zone worked out well for our friends on her side of the world. So Deb actually joined us several times and visited with us about different things that she was doing. And she has a strong background prior to her photography career in the business world, so it was always interesting to hear her feedback on different topics related to helping to encourage those in the NFT space and pursuing goals. So really enjoyed connecting with her in that way. But this particular piece is, this particular collection is titled A Melody of Blue by Deb Clark. And something that's unique about the images included within this collection is the way that Deb uses long exposure to be able to make these landscapes and beautiful, beautiful backdrops more dramatic. And so she mentions that she uses exposures up to 58 seconds to depict daytime images and making them even more dramatic and making you feel like you are standing right there. This effect allows for streaked out clouds to play on a sense of theater. Smoothed out water turns into silk, giving pristine reflections, and slowed down water flows give a dreamy quality. She does a great job of explaining how this long exposure process changes the images and makes them more amazing. And this particular piece, Framed Blue, she says about this image, dead trees are everywhere in the Torres del Paine National Park. Always, though, there is never the ending search for the perfect one. It was pure luck that I stumbled upon this one after a fruitless first day. An exceptionally colorful sunrise faded into the softest of blue. Perfect. And we would have to agree, it is absolutely a beautiful image. And I've learned from learning more about photography in this space, I really do enjoy these long exposure landscapes and the effect that it can do, and the effects of kind of smoothing out everything and making things even more rich and adding to that level of texture to the images. So definitely a fan of Deb and her work. And AlphaTrilogy has said about this, some people pay enormous amounts of money for squares of solid blue for the culture. I see the value in this photo of an aged tree framed in blue. This is one of my favorite landscape photos. So definitely love this particular piece. And our next photographer that we are featuring in this section of the exhibit is also from the Canadian Rockies, and she is a passionate landscape and portrait photographer. This is Sarah Lyndsay, and Sarah's passion for her work shines through in what she does. Sarah has a very strong social media and YouTube following, and she has come into the NFT space and really let her personality shine. She is probably one of the photographers that I spend the most time with personally, and I have absolutely loved being able to build a friendship with her, both as a collector and creator, but really just as friends as well. Sarah is often hosting or participating in spaces where she is lifting up other artists, and we spend a lot of time talking about the business aspects and social media aspects in the NFT space. So she's a great person to connect with on that side. And she also leads different photography tours around the world. So she's oftentimes interacting with people one-on-one and helping them pursue their photography dreams. Something that's really unique about Sarah that you can tell from seeing her work is she often adds a self-portrait into her landscapes, which is a really amazing technical aspect of what she does. But she creates amazingly beautiful landscapes, oftentimes using a long exposure technique, but then is able to add herself into that image too, just elevating it and making it that much more special. Now, when she first came into the NFT space, her first collection was Dear Dreamer 1. The piece we're featuring is from Dear Dreamer 2, and in each of these collections, you can see that she was wearing dresses of different colors that oftentimes complement different aspects of the landscapes. And since Dear Dreamer 2, she launched Dear Dreamer 3, and that really shows her coming into her own and being known for the yellow dress that so many people in this space know her for today. Now, the particular piece that we're featuring in this exhibit is Eventide, and like I mentioned, this is from Dear Dreamer 2, but with Eventide, she mentions in the description that this is taken at Canoe Beach in Salmon Arm and with the white dress. A beautiful sunset on Christmas Day. This was a bit of an unusual winter for us with warm temps and hardly any snow. I had no complaints soaking up the warmth and beautiful sunshine without the ice and snow. A treat for us Canadians to have a warmer winter. And a cool detail about Sarah is she also includes a little bit of detail for how she creates her self-portraits. They're a combination of two images. She says, I take one of the overall scene, which is typically a long exposure shot to smooth out any water and clouds in the sky. Then I take a second shot of me as the subject and combine them together in Photoshop. Since I'm often adding a long exposure to my image, I can't pose for more than a few seconds without visible movement in my hair or dress. I use a remote on my phone that connects my camera to take the photo. So really cool that she includes those extra details in how she creates these beautiful images. But this particular piece is just one of many that she has shared with us in this space, but absolutely gorgeous the way that she has captured the water and the reflection and the light. Just an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous piece. But Sarah, it would only make sense to include Sarah in this particular part of the exhibit, and very, very happy to do so. She's an incredible artist and also a very passionate supporter within the NFT community. And AlphaTrilogy has said, walking headfirst into the fire. It's a beautiful photo that for me exemplifies the passion and courage that seem to drive Sarah. Very well said, Alpha. Now, our next artist is another passionate landscape photographer, and this is Arwin Levinson. And Arwin is based out of Las Vegas, Nevada, here in the United States, and she oftentimes is photographing the western side of the United States. And something that Arwin has mentioned before that I really like about her process is she oftentimes visits the same physical locations over and over again, and she always has kind of an idea of what she wants to capture, what she hopes to capture. And she views these physical locations as like old friends that she's revisiting yet again, and oftentimes visiting at different times of the year to be able to capture what's special about that particular season. But it's just a detail about Arwin's passion that I really, really appreciate. And it comes through in her photographs how much she really does love the areas that she visits. Now, in this particular collection, this is called Sunstarscapes, and Arwin says the collection features photographs by herself that capture the moment when the sun is just above the horizon and the sky and landscape light up with a brilliant light. This is my favorite moment in a sunrise or sunset. And so there's 20 pieces in this particular collection featuring landscapes illuminated by sun stars. And in each image, you can see the sun with rays like a star, but in beautiful, beautiful settings. And this image that we're featuring is Cotton Ball Sunstar. And this was taken in Death Valley National Park. And there's underground springs that are bubbling to the surface. And when the water evaporates, there's circular salt patterns that resemble cotton balls that remain behind. And Arwin says, I love looking at and photographing these ever-changing circles of salt. And this is such an unusual image. I absolutely love, again, the way that the sun is captured in a star formation, but also the beautiful, beautiful formations left there in the salt that kind of look, the salt that's left behind kind of has this image of what could be interpreted as snow across this vast desert. So just a really, really unique combination there, but a great example of the amazing work that Arwin creates. And Arwin, again, is a wonderful person in the NFT space. She's very active and involved, and she's oftentimes contributing in many ways to be able to help others around her grow, and also being able to learn about the advancements in the photography space and help us all create this ecosystem that is thriving. Now, AlphaTrilogy says, I'm a big fan of Arwin and love the effort she puts into finding landscapes that are foreign to most of us. And I could not agree more. But very happy to feature Arwin in this exhibit and also to know her here in this space. Another really cool detail about this particular piece is it also is an example of Arwin's passion for the areas that she captures, because she's also donating part of the proceeds to this collection to the Southern Utah Wilderness Alliance, which is really cool to be able to help preserve these areas that she is so passionate about capturing. And that's another detail within the NFT space that, due to the smart contracts and the way in which royalties can work, we see several photographers being able to provide funding to different causes that they're really supporting or active. So it's a cool detail that has been able to give artists yet another way of being able to support causes and having a different way of impacting the area around them. So cool to know that about this collection as well. Now, our last photograph included in this set of the series is captured by Chelsea Mealo and Brandon Hall. And they are both travel and lifestyle photographers, and Chelsea is also a model in many of these instances. And the particular collection that we are featuring in this part of the exhibit is from 1,000 Miles Out, is the title of the collection. And this collection is very unique, and it captures an even more unique experience. Now, Chelsea and Brendan were in March of 2020. They were given they had accepted an assignment to travel to a remote island in the Indian Ocean, and they were supposed to be there for a matter of days to capture images required for this commercial shoot, and then they would be returning back to their daily lives. But as many of us know, in March of 2020, the world changed, and very much like some strange movie, their lives changed. Chelsea and Brendan were not able to return back home. In fact, they found out that as time went by, they ended up being there on the island for 6 months. And during this time period, it was very unusual because there was different requirements for staying within the area that they were living in, to where they actually could not even go outside. So the story of this collection has stayed with me since I first learned about it, because it's just such an unusual experience, and probably the only time in our lives that is going to be even a possibility. But again, it is like some strange movie playing out. But during their time there, they did find ways in which to work around the different restrictions and be able to explore this beautiful, beautiful island and make the best of a very strange situation. The descriptions of this particular collection read very much like a journal documenting this time period in their lives and this experience. So it's really, really worth taking the time to read through the different descriptions as you're looking at the beautiful images. They do an amazing job of telling these epic stories of the area that they're living in. you really feel like you could be right there along with them. But in this particular piece, they had actually found out that they were finally going to be able to return back to the United States. And so knowing that that was something that was coming up, they were trying to make the very most of their last bit there. And I'm sure it's one of those things where you feel like you're going to be there forever. And then all of a sudden finding out that you're going home, you want to try and fit in those last moments. But they tell this amazing story within the description of this piece about how they went on this crazy adventure to a waterfall to try and capture this amazing location. And while being there, they got all set up and actually experienced a flash flood in the area. They tell the story about having to evacuate the area and make it out. And, the emotion related to the disappointment that they had made it to this location and that they probably were not going to have time to revisit and capture the shots that they were hoping to, and kind of dealing with that disappointment. So you can feel the emotion coming through in the words that they share about, kind of the bittersweet. They're definitely glad to be leaving, but also, things that they had not been able to complete before they left. So some sadness there. But they do a wonderful job of explaining that after leaving that location, the clouds were very gray. The sky had definitely turned and they thought they were finished for the day. However, as they were passing one of their favorite beaches, the sun broke through and they were able to pull over and capture this amazing image. And such a cool and such an amazing image to kind of have closure to this incredible experience. This piece is entitled Soul on Fire, and they include in the description, they wrap up the description by saying, the blaze lasted only a few minutes and we were overjoyed with the outcome as we were witnessing this phenomenon that our souls felt on fire. And again, just an amazing series. And Chelsea and Braden are very, very accomplished and successful photographers, very, very talented. Their work is amazing to view, and they're also really fun people to get to know, even if it's in the digital space. But after you view this collection and go through it, you really feel like you know about their experience. But also having that finality seemed only appropriate to have it be the final image to include in this part of the series. So that's going to wrap up episode 4 of this 12-part series where we're featuring the pieces that we are highlighting at the In Real Life exhibit happening currently in Venice, Italy, which is Venice Biennale. We hope that you've enjoyed listening about the artist and the pieces that have been selected. Again, all of these pieces have been collected by AlphaTrilogy, and the exhibit has been curated by myself and AlphaTrilogy. And we're going to continue on this 12-part series so we can share more about the photographers and the background behind each of the images that have been selected for this exhibit. We hope that everyone has the opportunity to visit this in real life, but for those that can't, hopefully this will help give you a bit of a touch of the experience as well, and also introduce you to some amazing photographers here within the NFT space. So thank you so much for joining me today. Please check out the previous episodes that highlight documentary, photography, and other landscape photographers. And stay tuned for our next episode, which will be coming out soon. We are going to be featuring landscape photography in the next as well, and some variations on landscape photography. And then we also have some awesome, some other amazing genres to share with you as well through this 12-part series. But thank you again, and this is Nifty Meta Girl signing off, and can't wait to see you next time.